Oh. I mean, that works. Okay, that needs to be a clip or something. I meant to do that. Is he behind a wall or something?
We got a killer out there.
You can see them. They can't see you.
Can't tell if... Hey. Got one of my health potions back. Did all three miss? Meanwhile, that's on the other end of the spectrum. I still think that he's, like, behind that door. There we go. Where the hell? Whoops. these other people, maybe. Where the hell is this guy? That's just a rock, alright.
That's the last of them. Alone once more.
In what should have been a cave of wonders. Look around. See if anything is left.
Yes! I'm doing that.
Dr. Sobek, please archive this testimonial in Apollo. Cross-reference to all mentions of my name and Operation Enduring Victory. My name is General Aaron Helis. From 2060 to 2066, I served as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the highest-ranked officer of the United States Armed Forces. The tenure of my command included strategic planning and oversight of Operation Enduring Victory, a falsehood perpetrated on the civilian populations of the United States and other nations during the last 14 months of life on this planet. Before the Pharaoh Plague, I did my job and did it well. I was bold and decisive, crafty in political maneuvers. It wasn't an accident that I rose to my position and became the commander of the largest mechanized force ever assembled. But to what end? My only lasting achievement was the extinction of life on Earth. And my one redeeming act, if any, was to delay that extinction by days or weeks, by throwing more death at it. It is my hope that there will be no need for men like me in the world to come. If you are one of the people of that future world listening to this message, please know that I am sorry and that I wish you well. Sincerely, Aaron Helis.
I think... Ooh. You go over to a place like this and are disappointed when there's nothing. I think this is just where I came from, isn't it? It's in here.
Welcome to Hades.
Oh.
Zero Dawn's Extinction Failsafe Protocol. The ultimate killer app. Now, I know what you're thinking. The purpose of Gaia is to resurrect life. So why give her a subordinate function, only purpose of which is to wipe out life all over again? I mean, what? Just plumb crazy, ain't it? Well, no, it isn't. Reconstituting a biosphere? That's a tall order. Tech smart as Gaia may be, odds are she won't get it right the first time. I mean, imagine you're Gaia. 200 years from now, and this new biosphere growing, it's all gone wrong. Alkalines are skyrocketing, coniferous forests eroding under the lash of superstorms that would have drowned Noah. It's chaos. Spinning top that won't stop wobbling. Now what are you gonna do? Release phase 1 organisms into that hot mess? Hope their CO2 and methane can balance out what you got started? Hell no. What you're gonna do, Gaia, is step aside while Hades takes over and does what you're just too darn nurturing and life-loving to do, which is burn that misbegotten mess of a biosphere to the ground so Gaia can start over. Okay, not burn, more like reverse terraforming operations and suffocating. But you get the idea. Hades takes the biosphere back to zero. Square one, blank slate. And then Only then does it hand the steering wheel back to Gaia and say, try again, old girl. And better this time, or we'll have to do this again. That's Hades. It's pretty badass when you think about it. Extinction on demand. Death on speed dial. All for the greater good, of course, but still, kind of metal. So welcome to Hades. Welcome to the void.
Okay, so if that's the original purpose of Hades, why does it want me extinct?
We need more data.
And how does it end up in the wreckage of a Pharaoh Titan, getting worshipped by the Eclipse like some kind of god?
I'm learning as you are, Aloy. Keep searching.
Noise complaints. How many times is this? Y'all don't know, really. Color me confounded, Lizzie. Bashcore? Anyone who says the old TT code's the Bashcore is straight up lying. You know it. Old Trav doesn't have no truck with commercialized razzle-dazz. Nuh-uh. Heck, I'd rather guzzle a liter of Satarum runoff than listen to Grey Swarm for 30 seconds. Hand to God and swear on my mama's grave, and she was religious. Nah, that ain't Bashcore blasts in the Hades lab, shaking the walls, rattling folks' teeth. It's death metal, girl. Classical music, 80s and 90s mostly. Got me some Dutch deathcore, some Japanese gore grind, some Swedish cannibal themed stuff too. Stop by if you want to listen, or heck, just come within 50 meters of the lab. Ain't nor Bashcore you'll see, or hear rather, in the screech that rends the air and feel in the throbbing pulse of the floor and walls and ceiling swallowing you up like you was Jonah trapped in the gullet of gothic deathfish. Hallelujah. As far as those requests to turn it down, no can do, Lizzie. This is how I code. Turn down my death metal? Might as well give up stimulants, chocolate malts, and industrial accident vids. Okay. Last I heard, we was supposed to be coding Hades down here. Am I really supposed to code an extension protocol without death metal to inspire me? No, I don't think so. Hades protocol. Tate here, just popped 3 blues, but I earned it. Finally figured out a Goldilocks solution to Guy's rather extreme executive authority. If that ain't worth 10 to 12 hours of dream time, what is? Before this, every usurpation protocol I designed failed in simulation because it was either too hard or too soft. Too hard, and it degraded the Gaia core. Sure, it pried her figurative hands from the figurative steering wheel so Hades could take control, but by breaking her figures, sometimes her arms too, so that she couldn't fly. Everything depends on Gaia taking control back after Hades has done its business. So I had to find a solution that didn't leave Gaia any worse for wear. Too soft, and Gaia only pretended to relinquish control. In simulation after simulation, Hades would take command of the terraforming system and reverse operations, only to have Gaia lurk in the background, quietly reversing processes and falsifying telemetry to hide its interference. Sneaky. I swear ain't nothing Gaia wouldn't do to keep life going, even when it's just simulated plant life. Turns out the just right solution is to isolate Gaia in a protective code shell, preserving its integrity, then unseat it from the command position so Hades can slip into the figurative captain's chair and work its magic. Those blues are coming on strong, so I'm not really describing it so clear, but pretty sure it'll work. Yeah, those blues are pretty strong. Guess it's time to sleep in bed. I'll be back to it tomorrow. Alligators. Alligators. Need a drink of water. So much text to read. Normally I don't read all the text, but since this is story crap. Oh, more. Excellent. Archive abuse. Text mail. Mr. Tate, This mail concerns Apollo Archive submission number 0000238876. Your 666th submission in just 5 days. And oh, what a doozy. Despite earlier warnings re inappropriate materials, you choose to submit 265 holographic remasters of, quote, acknowledged classics of extreme exploitation cinema. Allow me then to thank you on 2 counts. 1, for giving me the pleasure of rejecting your submission, thereby co-signing your favorite Eastern European torture flicks and their ilk to the dust heap of oblivion. It truly warms my heart to know that I have saved future humanity from the ordeal of experiencing not just one, but all 16 exclamation point installments of making a millipede. Don't worry, the Pasolini material has already been preserved. Extreme perhaps, but art. For 2, for clarifying a concept that has so long been ambiguous and ethically fraught for archivists such as myself. The definition of obscenity. You freed me from the subjective quagmire embodied in Judge Potter's famous utterance, I know it when I see it. Thanks to you, I can now apply a single objective criterion. If Travis Tate submitted it, it's obscene. Accordingly, I've directed Apollo staff to summarily reject all of your future submissions, sight unseen. Perhaps you might invest the time you would have spent preparing further submissions on, oh, I don't know, your assigned work? We have a world to save after all. Or the rest of us do, anyway. Yeah, one of these I think is, I think this is in the Grave Horde. This must be one that I missed early on, unfortunately.
Looks like the only way onwards.
Welcome to Eleuthia, the crown and king of Gaia's subordinate functions. For it is by Eleuthia that the human race will continue to exist. I am Patrick Brochard-Klein, the Alpha in charge of this program. Now let one thing be perfectly clear from the outset. Eleuthia is not a genetic engineering project. Our goal is to preserve the human genome, not alter it. A snapshot of human genetic diversity, literally frozen in time. The genetic quintessence of our species, unmodified. Under my watch, our activities and initiatives will comply with the 2034 clone provisions and the 2048 Rally Accords. Now that may seem a quaint, even trivial concern to you in light of present circumstances, but as one of the authors of the Accords, it is far from trivial to me. The practical challenges before us are staggering in scope and complexity, but not insurmountable. No. Global collation and provisional storage of zygotes, perfection of exogenic technologies, design and perfection of servitors, to provide nurture and inculcation during early child development. All of these program components must and will proceed in tandem. To say nothing of the breakneck construction of cradle facilities at sites around the world. So, si vous êtes prêts, let us begin.
Alright, Cradle Servitor Personae. Development of the artificial personae for Cradle Servitors, Nurturer, Disciplinarian, Healer, continues at good pace. We are targeting Turing 0.4 for these constructs. This should allow low-grade empathy and limited improvision without undermining adherence to codified behavior sets. Stimulus-driven switching of persona, however, is proving to be a greater software challenge than anticipated, especially concerning our entrenched feedback loops between the disciplinarian and the healer persona. I've also attached the reports from an incident where a servitor running the mother persona intervened on a disciplinarian servitor's behavior. A parental argument, if you will. Amusing on first glance, perhaps, but deeply concerning. I've attached a comprehensive plan for correcting these interactive protocol shortcomings in GIST data grid.
No room.
What's in here? Well, the health potion boost might be nice. Actually, the wire wouldn't be the worst thing to have. If I'm being honest. I only have 2 stacks of wire. Cradle sealed. Eleuthia 01 was successfully sealed before the swarm advancing across Xinjiang province could detect it. Pingback from crucial systems is good for our maiden voyage a success. Regards my disputes with the betas over zygote selection. Of course I understand we have limited overhead to run simulations of gene flow in our future humans. But we can all agree that there is margin for refinement in future cradle populations. Donk. In addition to personally overseeing completion of Eleuthia 02's site inside Mount Namuli, I will formulate and purpose a modified zygote selection plan within the week. Now, where's Mount Namuli, I wonder? So the first one's obviously somewhere in China. Still one somewhere. Where? No, right here. Okay. FZ chambers. Yeah, I do use a lot of wire. That's why I thought I would grab it. The ectogenic chambers arrived 2 days ago. I spent the last 36 hours examining them and poring over technical documentation. They're a revelation. Astonishing. I don't know what you had to give Far Zenith in trade to get these chambers, but it was worth it. In a single leap, their embryologists have vaulted past 50 years of technological shortcomings. The risks of ECMO resolved. Nutrition delivery resolved. Hormonal stability resolved. 12 other risk areas resolved. Before I examined these chambers, I considered the Odyssey to be a fool's errand. But the rest of FZ's technology is at this level, well, a human colony around Sirius doesn't seem so impossible after all. Mass fabrication of the chambers will present a number of challenges, but I'm confident they can be resolved. I'm going to rest for a few hours and get back to it. Expect a fabrication plan within 48 hours.
Cradle facilities. Elizabeth said a new generation of humans would be spawned inside such places.
She did.
All Mother Mountain. It was one of them?
There's only one way to be sure.
The hatch wouldn't open. Something about a corrupted Alpha registry. I need to search Elizabeth's office. Forget about traveling light.
Oh, we're not getting in there, it doesn't look like. explore all the nooks and crannies. At least 2 things to scan in here.
Pure logic won't cut it, Ted. To pull this off, Gaia's going to need to have some skin in the game. It has to care.
What if it runs amok? Have we learned nothing from our mistakes?
Your mistakes, I think you mean?
All I'm saying is give it a kill switch.
She was just born, Ted. I'm not gonna put a gun to her head while she's still in the cradle.
You talk like it's a child. What if it becomes a monster?
Elizabeth, may I speak outside protocol?
Of course, Gaia, go on.
I'm sorry to contradict you, but Mr. Farrow's argument is sound. At this point, the development of my psyche is not entirely predictable. To ensure preservation of life, a hardwired override is, I believe, a necessary safeguard.
There. Satisfied, Ted?
Jeez, Liz, just do what it says.
Alright. This is where I came from, isn't it?
Looks like it used to hold something.
Nuts would benefit from antilopinate morphologies, though caprid forms show superior load-bearing capability.
You're a quick study, Gaia.
Dr. Sobek, as I have conducted this comparative analysis of mammalian morphologies, I've gathered extensive data on the quaternary extinction event.
Oh? And your assessment? Gaia?
Logically speaking, the extinction was a natural consequence.
And yet...
And yet, I find the loss of megafaunal species unaccountably sad. That they passed forever into oblivion causes me to experience a grief that is difficult to describe. Am I malfunctioning?
No, Gaia, you're not. This is good. It's very good.
Yeah, that's probably part of it. Alright. If I can do this without interrupting Aloy again.
You will undergo a brief period of unconsciousness during relocation to Prime and final instatement.
Elizabeth, may I speak outside protocol?
When you're back up and running at the new site, we'll bring the subordinate functions online and see where we stand.
Elizabeth, I detect distress. Are you all right?
I'm fine.
I realize that circumstances compel us to launch earlier than we hoped, but all subsystems are operational. The odds stand in our favor.
But what if... Gaia, there's nothing left out there. You can't even survive unless you're wearing an environmental suit. There are billions dead, in fear and agony. What if it was all for nothing?
Elizabeth, extinction was inevitable. Thanks to you, life will have a future.
You really believe that?
I believe in you, Elizabeth. In you, all things.
You, all things are possible? So she said something about a part missing, I thought she said. Before I so rudely interrupted her. The question is... all these guns laying around everywhere. Of course, she's not saying whatever I missed anymore. Is this what we're looking for? Oh, it doesn't give me a prompt. It looked like one of those round things we had to find before. Oh, pry open door. Is there anything? Looks like there's 2 things in here. Artemis status. It's coming along, Liz. I'm positive about it. If those words can still mean anything. Had my sleeves rolled up negotiating with frozen zoos for their samples. So many species trapped in ghoulish hologram dioramas. Suspended in what-ifs. More than 14,000 that went extinct between 2000 and 2043. We've started mapping out primary succession. Selecting the pioneer organisms for a balanced and sustainable biosphere. Microorganisms and insects, rabbits and hawks, foxes and wolves. Thousands more that will have to wait their turn until our new generation can be entrusted with the duty of restoring them. So they can return to a world that, this time, will understand the concept of conservation before it's too late. There's already been too many too lates. We lost the whole collection team during the swarm breakthrough in Myanmar. The samples we lost there were, well, irreplaceable. But thanks to you, Liz, the circle of life will bend, not break. The Earth was a lifeless rock before, and someday it will be again. But not now, not like this, not on our watch. Odyssey has failed. Some terrible news, I'm afraid. Far Zenith has informed me that the Odyssey mission has failed. Last night, telemetry indicated a catastrophic antimatter containment failure as the drive spun up to depart the solar system. The ship, its crew, its cargo of zygotes and seeds, its alpha build of Apollo, all were lost. Zero Dawn is now the only hope for the continuation of the human species and earthly life. We must succeed. All right.
The Alpha Registry master file.
Intact?
Yeah. No signs of corruption.
Then what are you waiting for? Copy the file.
I'm doing it.
With this, I can restore the registry at the hatch inside Allmother. Open it. Go inside.
And grasp the secrets within.
Where I was born. Maybe who gave birth to me.
Who? Are you really so naive? There will be no who waiting for you there, Aloy. Whatever birthed you into the world was a what, not a who.
You bastard.
Oh no, I had a legitimate birth. It's you, Aloy, who are the creation of a machine. But what kind of machine and why? Why were you created?
Eclipse.
You need to get out of there. What you found is too valuable. You're too valuable.
Why? We've seen you somewhere before.
Still alive. Good. I have a more suitable death in mind for you, child.